buzz from the drink, so gone from the club, now back to the streets with a 10 gram 20 you're a call to a friend. I can get what you want, I can get it right then, but the price must be right, or there ain't a Bob Barker. Bitch, get back for your fur really cost ya. Lay your ass down and I ain't talking robbery. Lay your ass down cause your bitch ass bother me. I ain't the type that you whoop off to. Hit your real cute down like an ice tray do. Crush grapes in my cup, crush grapes in my blood. Plus I get hypey, 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 what? Hypey, 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 what?
Hey guys, I am doing a video on the significance of words because where I have evolved from, I used to use my words in such a foolish way that I just wanted to share my growth and development with anyone who is interested in just knowing that like this whole spiritual thing is a process, you know, like you can be close to God and still have your issues. Like everybody should still admit that they have issues. My case in point is like I am not perfect, but I still want to seek and walk with God. So there's things that I struggle with and challenge myself on every day. And this is just some of my growth, so I hope you enjoy it. As a lyricist, my words were just purely art. I would create songs that I felt the masses would enjoy. I didn't give much thought to the actual words I was saying until I came across the Bible verse which discuss in Matthew how we will one day have to account for every word we say. And so I thought I'd make this episode in regards to that experience that I had once reading that message. One of the most biggest changes I took in my life as far as what my words are, what my attitude was my perspective. I found that Charles Swindoll's statement of life being 10% of what happens to you and 90% your reaction to be such a profound statement. So I wanted to explore that just in a little bit more depth. So the fact that life is 10% what happens to me and 90% my reaction, it's really empowering to really fully embrace that concept. Things may very much always be out of our control for as far as the big picture, but our reaction is always within our control. So I challenge you to remember that. Recently I was faced with this. My husband and I are separated, and he did something recently that he shouldn't have done. He added his car to my car insurance, and so I went to go check what my payment date was. Lo and behold, my $100 bill had become a $1,300 bill. I could have reacted in a million ways, and I wanted to. My flesh was screaming, wanting me to do this and do that and leave him with no insurance and just make things awful. But then I realized I have control of my reaction. So instead of being spiteful, and don't you know I wanted to be, it's just the flesh within us all. I'd be lying if I said I didn't want to be vindictive back. But having that control of my reaction and realizing that made a difference for me in this situation. So simply separated myself, left him with insurance, moved on with life. I was definitely frustrated. I think I posted a Facebook post like, I hope karma gets him. He's a piece of crap. I'm not proud of the words I use always, as we're talking about how important words are, but we still struggle with the flesh on a daily basis. And I just wanted to remind you guys that life is 10% what happens to you and 90% your reaction. A lot of times bad things that happen, you can use to better yourself, to strengthen yourself, to learn more so that if you know better, you do better. Reaction, definitely one of the things that has been valuable in my life and has helped me with my spiritual development. The other thing that would tie into your reaction would be perspective. perspective is huge. I remember when my earlier lyricist work, I was so negative. I felt like I was a product of my environment. I felt like, why is this happening to me? Like I was being wronged by everybody and everything. Ridiculous, ridiculous thinking. And I say ridiculous thinking because I read a couple of books along the way. One of them was 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. That book I definitely recommend. It really did help me start thinking of my perspective, start seeing things differently. Also read this book called Mindset, and this also, it's common sense. It's stuff we know, but when you read it, it helps really emphasize and impress in your own life and remind you of these things that you have power of doing. And so with perspective, I just wanted to give you some examples of what I mean by how important knowing and understanding perspective is. It can help with all of the situations that you're facing as well. That whole 10% that we talked about can be very much perspective. What I mean by that is there's this beautiful picture, it's not beautiful actually, but this interesting picture of a depiction of, depending on how your perspective is, you either would see an old woman or a young woman, but yet it's the same picture. Same thing with that dress that was super popular, 2 years ago? A lot of people thought it was gold. Some people thought it was blue. Again, perspective. Neither people are wrong. Talking about neither people being wrong, if someone's looking at 6 and someone's looking at 9, depending on your direction or your vision or your perspective, it might be a 6. From someone else's, it might be a 9, but neither person is wrong. Same thing with, there's a diagram, I'm going to throw it up here, where there's 4 or 5 lines, but depending on your perspective, you see one or the other. So I want to remind you that words are important, but so is understanding that your perspective may be just your perspective. You may not see the big picture. And the big picture is a big deal. You might see the trees, but not the forest, or the forest and not the trees, or the tip of the iceberg, but not what lies beneath. Our understanding of life is so minimal compared to all of the knowledge that exists. It doesn't have to be. Start seeing things for the bigger picture. Understand that what's happening is a moment in time, and it may be a lesson that you're meant to learn, something to grow from. So perspective is everything. Be careful with your words, for they hold life and death in them. And God bless y'all. Love y'all. Hope that you are growing with me. Have a great day. Love y'all. Bye.